Welcome to CS Design Studio's presentation, The Marketing Corner, with co-host Sean Campbell and Wyatt Chambers. The Marketing Corner is your source for the latest and greatest in today's world of marketing and entrepreneurship. And now, without further ado, it's Sean Campbell and Wyatt Chambers.
Okay, good. Well, I don't want to get sued either. So
I think Lily knows.
I do.
So I can't wait to hear this story now. So she had a whole new level to bring that I didn't have of life experience and clientele that I was not really in the market for. Like I was working at the time with 30 to 45-year-olds because that was kind of my demographic.
Right.
She brings in this whole new demographic of like 45 to 65-year-olds who she was running with in her inner circles. So I learned so much from her by hiring her in, and we realized quickly that we had the same mental process that we worked with people on.
Yeah.
I then decided that I wanted to get out of kind of the recruiting, managing side of the career and get back into the trenches and actually work with people again.
Yeah.
And I went to her and I said, "Hey, I want to do this." And she goes, "I've been waiting for you to ask."
Yeah.
So I think that from a partnership standpoint, we had a little bit of a unique take because we were working together in not in a partnership facet, but more of like a mentor-mentoree.
Right.
And you could vice versa, right? She was a mentor to me. I was a mentor to her. It worked both ways. We definitely made sure that we had all of our legal documents when we started into our partnership written out, right? How are we going to handle this? How are things going to work? Because what I've seen go sour in some partnerships is when you add an extra zero to something, right? So like at the beginning stages, 50-50 ownership is great, right? And you start working together 50-50, and then next thing you know, something really big comes along. And you add, instead of 3 zeros, there's 2 more zeros into those 3 zeros. And you start talking about some money.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I've seen most partnerships go real bad is that they think they don't have that agreement written solid to where they know, no, it doesn't matter how big or how small things are. This is a partnership.
Yeah.
And I think just knowing that going in is really important. But I also, Kidder is a one of a kind human being.
Right.
There's not a lot of people out there like her. And to have somebody like that, I just think that I'm incredibly blessed to even have met her. And then I'm fortunate to be able to have her on my team and to work together with her in a partnership. It's I count my blessings every day.
How important it is to have like the quote unquote, off work, because you guys both love sports.
Love sports. We go camping together.
Yeah, I mean, is that important, do you think, in a partnership, or just kind of icing on the cake?
It'd be icing, right? I mean, I've seen some partnerships where they don't really hang out outside, but I've seen some that, to me, fits more my personality.
Yeah.
I want to be able to like feel cool hanging out. Like I want to go to the office and not feel like I'm working with somebody that's just like a work partner, right? Like I want to be able to like my kids love Kidder. They love her to death, right? When Kidder walks in the room and my kids are there, they run up to Kidder and give her a hug, right? Like they that's their girl. I want that. I want that for my family. I want that for our business partnership. I want that just in general because I want to feel like my goal in my career so far is to create a situation where I don't feel like I'm working.
Right.
I want to just live.
Yeah.
And part of my life is the financial side of things, which I love to do. It is work, but it doesn't feel like I'm working.
Right.
And if I have a relationship that feels like work, well, then that kind of is going to take away from that same thing.
It's funny you say that because now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I've ever seen you like
Working. Love that.
Yeah.
I love to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm working all the time.
You are.
Right. I mean, I'm working
But-
when I coach my kids baseball tonight. I have practice today at 5:30.
Yeah.
I'm working a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm working on my team.
Yeah.
I got the parents there that I work with or I haven't worked with yet.
Right.
So it's, for me, I'm never going to push my work on anybody. It should, if I do it the right way, come off like they can talk to me when they want to talk to me about it, when they're ready to talk to me about it. Right. And if they're already working with somebody, fantastic. Then they won't ever bring it up.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to bring it up to them and then have that awkward conversation of, oh, well, I'm already working with somebody. And then it's like you have that whole weird thing. I want to avoid that.
Yeah. And you have your own vibe, you have your own look. And that's one thing you and I talked about in previous podcasts. whenever we have a guest, and I kind of give Lily kind of a background, but one thing I did not, there's two things I did not give a background on. One is your look, your vibe. So you got to like tell the story behind that, because I love hearing about that.
Okay.
You know, you're always GQ'd out, but you don't seem like it's effortless on you.
Okay.
If I were to wear what you wear every day, it would be an effort, and I would look awkward. You're so natural in your look. I mean, tell a little bit about that.
Well, I wish I could tell you where I got it from. Well, let's ask Lily.
Yeah.
What was the original? So when I walked in today, Lily and I just met first time today.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Did it feel GQ to you, as Sean is mentioning, or was it just kind of like some weird guy in jeans and a blazer? Yes.
Like, no, I wouldn't say weird guy.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Did it come off like he's describing? Does it seem like I have I feel I have a style?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Lily, guys always like this.
I am. This is not an act.
Yeah. No, it's not an act at all. He didn't dress up for our podcast. Trust me. What? Our last week's episode, Veronica, she dressed up for that.
Right. Well, yeah. Was she in real estate?
Yeah. You know Garcia?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, most realtors wear sweatpants most of the time until they have a meeting, and then they get dressed up, right? And I love real. And I work with real estate. I work with real estate agents. I love you, real estate agents. I love you with all my heart.
You and I have a ton of real estate buddies, right? A lot. So we do love you guys. You guys.
Oh yeah, it's the best. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with wearing sweatpants if you're not seeing anybody.
Guys not lying. And if they're not selling a home, they're wearing sweatpants.
Exactly right. and it's a beautiful thing. That's exactly right. I think I've told you on a podcast before with you. For some reason in my head, when I was younger, I wanted to wear a suit. Suit felt like work. Yeah. And I'm like, man, when I get older, I want to be able to wear a suit to work. I don't know what work is going to be. I don't know what it means to have to wear a suit, but I want to do that.
Right.
So then, fast forward, I break my leg, I get out of my professional baseball career, and I get into this career, and I was like, oh, sweet, I get to wear a suit, right? And I'm like, okay, cool, but I'm broke, and I can't afford suits, so how do I make this work? And I'm like, oh, well, Men's Warehouse has some good deals, so I start piecing it together.
Right.
But as that's kind of, I've gotten out of the suit game and more into I don't like wearing suits because they're uncomfortable. Like the pants, I don't like suit pants.
Right.
They're very uncomfortable to me. And I don't like necessarily like dress shoes either. I like comfortable shoes.
Some Cole Haans.
I love some Cole Haans, right? Some Cole Haans with like the nice soles in them. They have the Nike collabs with Cole Haans where they have the nice soles in there. Yeah. Love that, right? So over the last, since Empower Financial Group, I've really just started saying, you know what? I don't really care about wearing a suit. I just want to feel put together.
Right.
So that when I see somebody or when I'm out in public, there's never going to be a chance for somebody to be like, oh man, that guy doesn't have his ish together. Right. And that's, and again, it's not necessarily a conscious thing for me, but it's like, hey, I know what I want to look like. I know it sounds so weird to talk about out loud. I've never actually had this conversation out loud before. Me, guy. So I love it. But I want to look good. Right. I want Sean Campbell to go, you're the best put together guy I've ever seen.
You want me to say he's my guy, introduce you like I just did,
and not be
everybody.
Embarrassed by it, right? And again, not saying that dressing up is where you build your credibility. Not at all. But I think that you don't get a first impression ever again. Right. So if you're just meeting somebody and that's your first impression, and then you meet me and you realize that okay, he's not a stiff in a suit, then it's like a double whammy, right? It's like okay. Yeah. That works. Yeah. So that's kind of how that came about. Yeah. But I don't read GQ magazines. I watch movies. I love Tony Stark. Yeah. I love the way he looks, right? If I was going to look like anybody, I want to look like him. Right. And he looks good. Yeah. And he dresses up. Yeah. And he's a gangster. Yeah. So that's where I get it from.
I love it. So
word to Iron Man.
Yeah. So
R.I.P.
So Lily, you didn't know that he was also a professional baseball player one time?
No, I was gonna interrupt and ask about it.
You can interrupt it. This is your show as well, Lily.
You can't even see me on the thing.
She's here though.
Yeah.
She's here. So you asked the question then, Lily.
Well, just tell me about your professional baseball.
Yeah, so I played baseball my whole life. So I told you earlier before off air, we grew up here in Tucson. So I went to Sabino High School. I played baseball there. Went to Pima, played baseball there for 2 years. Then I grew and was able to play Division I baseball in North Carolina, which don't let me forget to tell you something about North Carolina.
Okay. Not the story we had the burgers and beers
No,
on.
no,
Okay.
no, not the Sugar Bear story. Oh my goodness, that one cannot be told on air. And I was lucky. I was pretty good at baseball, and I was fortunate enough to be drafted by the Seattle Mariners. So I was in the minor leagues for the Seattle Mariners for about three and a half years, and then I broke my leg. Off the field accident. I can tell that one on air, but I need more time. But it was a golf cart, broke my leg, and then that kind of ended my professional baseball career. Yeah.
Wow.
I was drafted as a third baseman. Okay. Yeah. I played for 3 years.
3 years.
In the minor leagues. Yeah. Never made it to the big leagues. So, I never got to go play for a whole bunch of money. But I got paid. Just not a whole lot.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Minor league baseball is not all it's cracked up to be. If you've seen Bull Durham, the movie, it's a pretty good representation of what minor league baseball is like.
Right. And that's one of the things that you and I share. We love baseball.
Yeah.
Are you in a fantasy baseball team too?
No.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I barely do fantasy football.
Right. You probably shouldn't do baseball because it's so addicting.
Yeah, I know. Every time I sit with you and you tell me about how much time you're putting into it, I barely have enough time to do my fantasy football league.
Yeah.
And my league hates me.
Yeah. So I knew I was out of it by mid-season. So I stocked up on 9 of the top 50 prospects for next year.
For next year.
Boom.
Yeah.
And plus, I got 7 draft picks in the first 4 rounds next year.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're out of it.
I've been out of it since July.
Yeah. Hate to see it.
But I knew it. I knew it. I had a rash of injuries and whatever.
Sure.
It is what it is. But next year, I'm dominating.
Can't wait.
Dominating.
Can't wait to hear about
Dominating. So you are an avid audiobook guy.
Mm-hmm. I do audiobook. I like to actually read.
Okay, so what have you been reading?
This year I finished the George Washington biography.
Wow.
It's by John. Oh gosh, it's the Pulitzer Prize winning biographer who did the George Washington biography.
Wow.
I'm a big George Washington fan.
Huh.
He is like my alive or dead person I would want to be able to meet at some point.
Yeah.
If that happens, that'd be awesome.
That would be.
But that's the book I finished about a week ago.
Wow.
But for the second time. So I've read it twice. It's amazing. His story is incredible, and I could go on and on and on about it. But that's the one thing.
Give us the top 3 highlights of the book, of his autobiography.
Well, I'll just tell you top 3 things of his life.
Yeah.
He's one of the only people in history, all time, to relinquish power. And I think that just says enough, right?
Yeah, right.
If you look back, he was he's the founder of basically our first president, obviously.
Yep.
Okay. So he led the Americans to beat the British and started the American Revolution, right? To get our independence. He was the leader of our military. And when we won and essentially declared our independence and we won the war, Battle of Yorktown, finished that, and then he handed his military paperwork back to Congress and said, they wanted him basically to be like the leader of the army and just dominate everything, right? He goes, no, I want to go back to being a civilian. This is not my job. This is your job. So he handed power back once. Yeah. Then he reluctantly was asked to be the president of the United States, and he did not want to be the president of the United States, but he knew that it was something that he needed to do because the infancy of America was basically teeter-tottering, because you think we're divided now?
Yeah.
We were way more divided then, right? Because a lot of people were like, well, is this whole America thing worth it? Or because we're poor now. Yeah. And when we had the British here, it was a lot better, right? Yeah. So they're going, well, I want to go back to that way. And so they was teeter-tottering there. So he knew it was important for him to step up and lead the country into what he had helped basically a lot of people die for, right?
Right.
He was president. They wanted him to go for the 3rd term. And he, again, said, no, a president only should be in for 2 terms, 8 years. I'm handing the power back. Wow. He could have been king.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. At that first time, he could have been king. And it's the only time in history where someone had the opportunity to have full power over an empire and to not take it.
Wow.
And I think that is a pretty powerful thing to say about a human being.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, human beings will take power if they have an opportunity to have it.
Absolutely.
So that's my shtick on George Washington.
So the audiobooks that I've finished late, because I love sharing what I've read with you. Have you listened or read the David Goggins books?
No.
Oh,
he's an intense man.
Yes, I've read. I went backwards. I listened to his second book first, and then the first one, and then I started his second one again this week. You know, I mean,
what's the title of his newest one?
The newest one is Never Finished.
Okay, that's
Never
right. I've seen that on the.
And
I've seen it on the sellers.
I've always thought that I was a pretty motivated dude. You know, I mean, obviously I'm here, and I'm, very fortunate to be a part of CF Design Studios and where I'm at now. But all the things that he's gone through, just when you think you reach the apex of the stuff he's been through, there's another story.
That guy is unbelievable.
No,
I think he's borderline crazy.
I think it wasn't how far he wanted to push his body; it was the mind.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The mindset that he has is insane.
And sometimes he almost like self-destructed many times.
Sure.
But after he became a Navy SEAL and an Army Ranger, is when he found out he had a hole in his heart. Mm-hmm. You know, and his heart was only like functioning at 30% capacity. And so I listen to him when I'm getting up and doing my little workouts, and I'm like, I have no excuse,
right,
ever not to finish anything that I've started ever again.
Yeah,
because there's this one story after another. Highly recommend that.
So he's been on some podcasts that I listened to, and that guy is just an inspiring voice.
Very,
right?
Very,
He's definitely rough around the edges.
Definitely, yeah. If you don't,
if you don't like cussing,
then don't listen.
Or being told that you're inadequate,
right.
You probably shouldn't listen.
Yeah, and that's not really his message. But if you take it the wrong way, you definitely.
Well, I think a lot of people would take it the wrong way because it's too true.
Yeah, but he's just asking to look himself in the mirror.
Exactly. It's too much truth for people to hear.
The one benefit of the audiobooks guy is that there's a podcast in between every chapter.
Oh, cool. Does he read the audiobook?
I think a friend of his reads it, and then it's him and a buddy talking about because you get the story behind the story. Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
And it's just there's an added layer, so it's really cool. It's
Let's check it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know I've been told to read them all the time. I've heard them on podcasts before, so I've heard some of those stories. But I'd love to see them all compiled into one place.
Yeah. Last question, North Carolina.
Oh yeah. So this is a shout out to my wife. My wife is being inducted into the University of North Carolina, Greensboro Soccer Hall of Fame. Well, basically the UNCG Hall of Fame for her soccer.
Yeah.
It's the coolest thing
Amazing.
ever, right? Like
amazing.
I was a good athlete, right? But no one actually understands how good of an athlete my wife was.
Yeah.
She was the best at what she did.
Yeah.
And she's getting rewarded for that. In October, we get to fly back.
That's
so
right.
we're taking the family back. We haven't been back to Greensboro, North Carolina since we left Greensboro, North Carolina in college. So I can't wait. It's gonna be so much. It's gonna be so much fun.
That's awesome.
I'm super proud of her. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. We'll tell her we all said congratulations.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing all the photos on social and all that. So
it'll be very neat.
Any last words?
No, just thank you for always wanting to talk. I love coming here and talking to you. You're a good dude, and you always ask good questions. And I apologize if I sounded weird about the GQ stuff because
I was hoping to get some weirdness out of it.
Well, you're gonna get it.
It's gonna make some good trailers.
The longer that you have me in a microphone, you're gonna get some good stuff.
We got another hour to go, guys. So. And how could do you want people to reach out to you?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, if anyone has questions or wants to learn more about how we work with people, which I think is the most important part, is understanding how we work. Feel free. We have Empower Financial Group LLC.com. So it's www.empowerfinancialgroupllc.com. You can find me on social media, Guy Welsh, Empower Financial Group on Facebook. We have plenty of ways to reach us all on those things. You can get on our Calendly. You can find my phone number and call me whatever way you want.
Yeah, and I really, highly recommend Guy to the nth degree just to sit down and have that conversation, right? So
Appreciate that.
It's always tremendous to speak to you and just catch up, and so I look forward to when you and I have our next a review of my own stuff.
Yep.
So a lot to talk about there. There's been a lot of changes in my career, my life. So
yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So, Guy, appreciate it very, very much.
Thank you, Sean.
Lily, thank you for being the best ever.
The voice in the sky, Lily.
Only she gets the audience applause for some reason. I don't know why. So until next time, you got to do what you got to do if you want to do what you want to do.
Thank you for tuning in to the Marketing Corner. Follow us on Facebook or visit us at csdesignsstudios.com today.